Well, hey, Life Groups, by now, many of you have received your Love Sioux Falls service project. If you haven't signed up for an event already, please do so. Get that sign-up sheet. Your group leader still has it, and fill it out and commit to your event. Now, many of you may have friends and families that you would love to invite to your service project or Love Sioux Falls in general. If you do, direct them to the hub connection that they receive on Sunday mornings, and every single Sunday we're going to be exposing telling everyone about Love Sioux Falls, and we want to invite those people who are not in a life group that you may know or complete strangers to come join us for these events. The reason why we want people to sign up through the hub is that we actually want to get them connected to a group or a service project that has room. So we don't want people showing up to a Love Sioux Falls service project and there's too many people for that nonprofit. So we want to get them connected to the right group. Now, I want to end this time by just celebrating what is going on in groups this semester. God is moving in amazing ways, and incredible stories are pouring in from life groups all around the Sioux Falls areas. Groups are growing. People are sharing community, having that covenant community, and I just want to celebrate each and every one of you for being in a life group this semester and choosing to take that risk on relationships. And I know most of you know by now it is well worth it. And I want to end this time by giving a shout out to my life group, which is the Financial Peace University group in Harrisburg, Kevin and Lisa Peterson's group. Hey guys, I'm enjoying it. You guys are a little bit awkward, a little bit fun, and I love it. And if you want your group to get a shout out, maybe in a vision time in the future, let me know. Let your group leader know, and we'll see what we can do. You guys have a great group, and I'll see you next week. God bless you guys. So welcome back to your R3 Life Group. I think we could all agree that this series, Boiling Point, has been a life-changing series for each and every one of us. For the past 2 weeks, we've had 2 guest speakers join us. This week, Micah Kephart from Poetis International taught us on the author of our Boiling Point faith, Jesus Christ. In Micah's nonprofit, Poetis, they are centered around the mission of Jesus' work here on earth, which was sharing the gospel, the good news, to the poor and healing the sick. In Luke 4:18 it says, "The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, for He has anointed me to bring good news to the poor. He has sent me to proclaim the captives be released, that the blind will see, that the oppressed will be set free." The reason why we have good news and healing today is because of what Jesus did when He sacrificed Himself on the cross for us. And in Micah's teaching, he brought incredible imagery to this sacrifice, and it's found in the book of Leviticus. You see, in the ancient time of Israel, when a man or woman was healed from leprosy, the high priest would bring 2 doves to the final cleansing ceremony. One of the doves was sacrificed, and the other one was dipped in the blood of the sacrifice and then set free. You see, when Jesus died on the cross, He symbolized both doves. He died and then He rose again. And because He did that, we have victory in the Boiling Point faith. And many of you who listen to Micah's message have heard this before, but this teaching never, ever gets old. You see, we have a Boiling Point faith because of what Jesus Christ did for us. And due to Micah's preaching schedule, there may be some key insights that were not shared in this rewind. So go ahead and talk about what this sermon meant for you, and I will see you back for a special Reflect. So I'll see you soon. So welcome to Reflect. This week we have a special guest with us, our creative arts pastor, Phil Wiseman. He's a good friend of mine, and he's going to talk to you today about worship and how that ties into justice. And I know you're really pumped about this. You're excited about this. So let's dive in. First question. It's about Poetis. What is Poetis International, and what's your experience with it?
Yeah. Well, Poetis International is a nonprofit organization based out of Michigan, and they do work in sub-Saharan Africa. And it's all about orphans. Everything that they do is about empowering orphans. And they do that in a variety of ways. most of us at the Ransom will know them for their work in Zambia, but they've recently started branching out into other countries like Lesotho and South Africa.
Okay.
And also, most of the people at the Ransom will probably be most familiar with what they do with the arts. If you've been coming to our church for a while, you maybe have heard us talk about their music academy or the Hope Fest festivals that they do.
And you've been there.
I've been there 7 times.
Okay. Just 7. So, that's okay.
It's become a passion of mine. But what I was trying to say was that it's not just about the arts. They use the arts in order to empower orphans in Zambia, but it's so much more than that. It's about income generating initiatives like sewing and chickens and farming and gardening and all sorts of things. Anything you can think of, really. And so as a church, we partner with them and we take a trip every year. And what we do on those trips is we do a Bible camp.
Okay.
Where the kids come for a few days, and these kids get like 3 meals in a day, and
wow.
They get a roof over their heads, which is just huge. And we fund their whole experience. We pay for it all. And it's just an opportunity for these kids to hear the gospel, get leadership training, just be loved on, and also, enjoy what it feels like to get 3 meals a day, which is something that most of them don't do. So that's just a brief snapshot of our interaction with Poetis and what they do. And hopefully, I'm sure that that Mike has shared something with all of us that helps us get a little bit better grasp on what it's all about. So.
Right. So you're the creative arts pastor. You mentioned the arts with Poetis, and we're talking, obviously people may know the arts are on Sunday morning when we worship free. You're leading worship. So tell us what, most people know what worship and I guess justice, they're for justice over there in Africa, and they're doing all this kind of work. What do those words actually mean in your position as a pastor of creative arts at the Ransom? What is worship and what is justice, and how do they tie together?
Yeah, I think that those 2 words are inextricably linked. Justice, I understand to be kind of God's restorative work in the world, bringing all wrongs and making them right. And it's something that he invites us to do alongside of him. And God is in the business of of restoring this world and the people that he made in it. And so worship, I think, of course, at its core, it's giving God all the glory that he's due. And part of the way that we do that is through songs. But really, I think worship must boil down to obedience. And so at its core, worship is about joining God in this mission of justice that he's on in the world, of reconciling the world back to himself. And so when we worship, not only do we sing, not only do we put God into his proper place in our hearts, but we also obey him. We go with him into the ends of the earth in order to bring hope to those who have lost hope. And so the two words go together, and all over the Bible you see it together. I mean, Isaiah 58 is probably one of the best examples. Isaiah 1 is another great example, and he's, the people of God are fasting and they're having these worship ceremonies, right? And God says, "This is not the kind of fast that I want." And he says, "I want to plug my ears at the sound of your festivals and your songs." Yeah. Because among you there are orphans who are fatherless, and there are widows who are not taken care of. In other words, justice is not being done, but the fast that I desire, in other words, the worship that I desire, is that you would do justice. Yeah. And so realizing that sort of thing has just done a number on me as a worship leader. And I could probably go on even longer.
For sure. I remember the last week of Takeout, and when we talked about fasting, was Isaiah 58. Right. Where it's like, I'm plugging my ears. Essentially, you guys are fasting, but you're not taking care of the poor. You're not going out and doing these things. You're not fighting for justice. So the two are, you can't pull them apart. Right. So for everyone who's watching right now, sitting in their living room, wherever they're at, watching this R3, what is your challenge to them? They've heard this, they understand, okay, wow, they're intertwined, they've heard this in the series, they know your passion behind it, what you do at the Ransom. So what do they do? What's the challenge?
One of the difficulties about having guys like Micah and Justin from Casas come is a lot of times you're left and you're thinking, okay, well, what do I do now, right? Yeah. You just messed me up, and you just exposed me to a lot of the difficulties in the world. Yep. So what am I supposed to do now? And I would say that there's a lot of ways to answer that question. But right here in Sioux Falls, we have truckloads of opportunities to serve people who desperately need it, who desperately need to know about Christ. Because poverty at its core is broken relationships. It's that relationship with God having been severed. And so the best thing that we can do to alleviate poverty is to restore these relationships that people have with their Creator. And at the Ransom, we have all sorts of ways that we can do that.
Like with the closet we just had, which is more about the relationship than clothes. And we had hundreds of people come by for that.
Yep.
And then we also have Love Sioux Falls coming up as well. And any other opportunity? Once a month, we usually have something going on.
Yeah, we've got service projects going on every month. We got in the summer, we got the $1 car washes. We got in the fall the turkey giveaways. We go to the banquet constantly. We've got the Loop. We go to the nursing homes in the prison ministry every Sunday, every week. So there's just endless opportunities in the Ransom to express your worship through justice. And so as a worshiping body, when we come together and we sing God's praises, the way to make that real is for us to obey Him as well.
Yeah. Well, you're preaching right now. I feel like I'm getting saved right now. But I hope you understand what Phil's saying. And thank you for coming along and just teaching us a little bit about worship, justice. And it's true, when we have great people like Micah, Justin come in and they leave, we're like, what can we do? Well, we have opportunities now. So this Reflect is just simple. It's Love Sioux Falls. When a closet comes up again, are you going to go to Zambia? With Poetas, there's so many opportunities. Casas por Cristo coming up in May. Will you be a part of that? Discuss that with your life group. Have an incredible Reflect, and I'll see you for React. So welcome to React. This week we have 2 challenges for you. First challenge, are you signed up for Love Sioux Falls? If you haven't put your name on that sheet of paper yet, do so. This is your opportunity to go out and serve. Just like Justin and Micah challenged us to go out, to go where God is working. Are you signed up for Love Sioux Falls? We're going to keep challenging you every single week until every single one of you sign up. Second challenge, Phil Wiseman said in Reflect that poverty at its core is broken relationships. Now, many of you who may be watching this may not consider yourself at a poverty level. But I will say this, many of us have someone in our lives that we haven't forgiven yet or are holding maybe even a small grudge. So this is your challenge this week. We're going to be honest. We're going to be open in our group. Think of someone right now who you feel like you need to owe an apology or they owe you an apology. Think about that person right now. Now in this week's React, what you're going to do in order to apply this message is you're going to make amends. Either it's a text message or a phone call, a Facebook message, a coffee date. We're asking you this week to reach out to that one person who you don't want to reach out to and mend that relationship. You don't want poverty in your relationships. We don't want that. So this week's challenge, go out, make amend in relationships. Think of that name. When this React ends, share with your group who that person is. If it's too personal, don't worry about it. At least let your group know that there's someone in your mind and that you will make amends. And group, this is your time to help support, to help with accountability. So that's all we have for this week's React. I'll see you next week for our last week of Boiling Point. Pastor Phil Tagg is going to bring the final week of that message. I'll see you guys later. Have a blessed week.